Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
Hey everybody, this is Neil Wood, again, one of your hosts. I'm recording this a little later after part one has already come out. So if you haven't checked out part one, go back and check out the part one with Noah Houlihan on the Magic Missouri Tour. But if you're ready for part two, we're excited to have you. The rest of this is just as good as the first. It's really great. And we get into even more relationship stuff, crazy stories, death, trauma. So it's really good and it's a lot of fun, which is our whole goal. So I hope you enjoy. Remember, you can check out everything Noah Houlihan has to offer. Just follow at TV's Noah Houlihan on everything. And of course, check out at Jesse Dram, at Magical Missouri Tour, and IamNeilWood.com for all my dates and details and all that kind of cool stuff. Thank you so much and enjoy part two of Noah Houlihan on the Magical Missouri Tour. Somebody that went out with my girlfriend, but I got him back and went out with his girlfriend or something like that.
No. That's what I wanted to do after. Oh, God. Okay, so I'll just get into this real quick.
Jesus. Why did I open that?
Well, no, the entryway into this is I had a threesome under false pretenses.
What?
So
it was supposed to be an orgy, but
yeah,
a lot of people didn't show.
So I was dating this girl. My friend, let's call him Jim.
Okay, because that's his name.
No, Jim is dating Kelly. Jim is dating
Jim
Kelly.
Milowski, just for fun.
Jim is dating Kelly. I'm dating Sarah.
Gotcha.
And me and Sarah are kind of, whatever. And Jim and Kelly keep breaking up and getting back together.
How did Sarah feel about that?
Yeah.
Me and Sarah just like, meh, you know.
One day, Jim invites me over, says, can you get weed? Kelly wants to smoke. She never wants to do this. So I go over. They're smoking weed. I'm doing whiskey. And Jim says, Jess, me and Kelly decided part of the reason we kept breaking up is we were kind of bored. I'm like,
right.
What? Like, I instantly, like, are you game about this? People came over. The discussion was dropped. Right. People leave at the end of the night. I got to go and leave. They are furiously making out on the couch where my shoes are.
Right.
I go over to grab my shoes.
Guys, I need my shoes. Guys,
yep.
please.
Can you?
Please, I need my shoes.
Please.
Please let me
I go over, and she just grabs me in the pants and is like, yeah, this is happening.
There you go.
So it happens.
I'm putting on my shoes.
You do what you do. I'm putting on my shoes.
Stop bringing in college, Noah. Your nonsense. Go ahead, take you on your pants.
He taps out early. Me and her keep going at it. And this is like a long...
Oh, that's awkward.
That's not a three-way. That's seconds.
Yeah. Leftovers.
Yeah.
This is a loft apartment. So he goes to bed, and he can just hear everything.
Yeah.
And me and her finish. She goes to bed, and within 30 seconds, I hear her crying.
Yep.
It's like, I need to
So
get
you go
the
fuck
fucking...
the guy.
Exactly. Like, well, even Steven.
She's crying.
Does this make you better? Does this make it feel better? But wait, what are the false... Because false pretenses, almost for a second, sounds like... Okay.
The next day, Jim calls me, says, we need to talk. Like, do we really have to?
Yeah, right.
It's like, okay.
Or we can never speak again.
Exactly, yeah.
Throwing that out there.
Do you remember when you left Don's party early 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Yeah, you and Sarah got in a fight? Yeah. I kind of slept with Sarah that night.
Just kind of.
This fucking animal cheated on his girlfriend.
Right.
Fucking his best friend's girl that he's dating.
Yeah, but then you got to fuck his girlfriend, so it's all even.
That's literally his logic. It was like perfect Italian. Like, you can't be mad. I took care of it. He didn't tell either of us leading into this. He just set up an apology, fuck my girlfriend scenario.
Ugh. That is some real trashy shit.
Yeah. And my thing, I was like, well, I got to try to fuck her on my own time now, so I can get even.
That's the only way it counts.
Yeah. They dated for a few more months after that. It was so weird. And me and the Sarah girl had broken up in between. That's the only real name I have in this because she's a cunt and fuck her.
Okay, second C word. Got it. Second direction to it. Just
I have
keep
a coda. I have a
Quota.
Here's me in college. I have a girlfriend, and I'm drinking, and I'm in the dorms drinking, and there's this girl who was super into me, and she like falls onto my lap, and I'm like, "Hi."
For motivation purposes, to go to your motive, were you also? I mean, obviously you weren't. Were you also into her in a way? Like she was physically attractive.
She was
to you?
physically attractive.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. She was cute.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was real tiny, and I'm just kind of like holding
Called
her.
little people, but it's fine.
I'm holding her in my lap. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" It's her party, so I'm like, "Hey,
yeah.
what's up?" And she's like, "We have the closet full of just like pillows and blankets for making out." I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Right. Cool.
that's a cool
You should
thing."
tell other people.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to do at the party. And she's like, "I have a secret to tell you. Can I tell you a secret?" And I'm like, "Sure.
Yeah.
Tell me a secret." And she goes into my ear and just sticks her tongue in it. Just,
No,
And
nice.
I'm like,
nice.
"Whoa!"
I mean, I like the move. But that's also ugh.
And I'm like, "Whoa, oh, what's that?" And I was like, "You can't do that." And she's like, "Okay." And she grabbed my dick. And I'm
Right.
like, well, then why are you hard?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah.
And there's a girl sitting next to me
Right.
who goes, "It's because he's a virgin. He doesn't know how stuff feels. Watch, let's do it together." And they both just do it in my ears. I'm like, "Gotta go!"
Don't mess in my pants. Like just that's
Yeah.
insane. That
Yeah.
is
The fact that I
you
never
get double team tongued in the ear.
Yeah,
by-
the fact that I've never cheated on Tara is like insanity because it was just like, hey,
You were
if
getting double penetrated.
yeah, it's like if you guys want to go into the room we've set up for this,
Right.
with the two of us, we're game. And I had to
Right.
go, nah,
I got the old ball and chain.
yeah,
Gotta get back.
it's
to.
almost 9. I have free nights and weekends.
Yeah, I gotta go talk to her and not hear her voice.
Yeah,
back
I have to
she
go
needs to know what I did today. I'm leaving this part out.
I have to just go stare at my Madala posters because I'm Buddhist now.
Yeah, I'm also Buddhist.
I'm also Buddhist. I'm gonna go stay at them and talk to my girlfriend. So what I'm missing out on this is she's going to a different school as well, obviously, right? So
Yes.
okay. And in the summers, there's a couple of those New York problems.
Yes.
So you guys just didn't see each other at all, right? Like there's no
I mean, like
weekends or
through
something.
the
or-
first like 3 years I'm in college,
Right.
Like I would go home and we'd see each other
Okay.
when we could and stuff like that.
Okay,
And like
gotcha.
she came down a lot of weekends and like
But when you said that your friend who was at your wedding, your best man, I think,
Yeah.
he dated her for a little while.
I think that they went on a date.
Okay, I was just confused because I was like, wait, he was your roommate. When the fuck does he see her?
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
She would come down a lot.
Okay, I
and
got you.
stuff like that.
I got you. That's fucking crushing.
Mhm.
So you're talking towards the end of college. You guys finally consummated the relationship before
Yes,
marriage.
yeah.
What was up with the marriage? Holding on to the marriage because you being Buddhist, you're studying, but you're still studying theology. Like, how much of the Christianity,
It was
Catholic is-
weird. It was one of those things where it was just like it had nothing to do with religion because I had
Oh.
lost mine.
Yeah.
She was an atheist, but had like a religious family.
Right,
So I was just like, let's just not do it.
right.
And like,
Well, wait a second. Is this gold star virginity or everything but?
No,
Okay.
no.
Everything.
If you want to do my old bits, the big joke was like, so you're dating this girl and you're gonna marry her and you haven't had sex yet, like. Are you gonna buy the car without taking it for a drive first? And I was like, oh, we've driven around a lot. I just haven't parallel parked her yet.
Right.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah,
I
that's
think I remember. That's
Proto 1 Noah jokes. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so that breakup happens. So you finish up your final year single.
Single. And like, it was one of those things where like all the women that were interested in me are all gone now.
Yeah,
Because now I'm no longer in theater. I'm all in education.
right.
So like, it was one of those like real shitty because
and they can smell it on you. They're like, he's broken. That one's
yeah,
broken.
that's a
over
broken
there.
man.
Yeah.
And like, I remember like saying out loud to people like, I'm in a real good situation. Like, if I end up being a very famous stand-up comedian and actor, I'll be happy for the rest of my life. If I'm a teacher and I just live with Tara, I'll be happy for the rest of my life too. So either way, it's fine. So then I'm doing like my student teaching single, like, This isn't even close to
Right.
the things I wanted to do. So this was actually right around when I started writing my most filthy comedy.
Oh.
Going to the Raven Lounge and getting it filmed and putting it on the internet. Because my thought was like, if I fuck myself enough,
Right.
I'll never get a teaching job and I have to do
Oh, you were
comedy.
trying to self-sabotage.
I was trying to
Oh,
self-sabotage, yeah. Because I was just like, I don't want to be a teacher. Like, my feelings towards being a teacher is, you ever see like one of those doctor shows where the doctor breaks and is like, I just wanted to help people and it's just people dying.
Right, right.
That's how I felt about teaching.
Oh.
Where like, I just wanted to teach kids and they're like, no, you have to teach them how to take a multiple choice test. Because
Right.
if they don't pass, we will fire you. It's
Right.
like, what the fuck is this?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, like I completely
No
freaked
child
out.
left behind. So you're just like, oh, great. So this is a slog. Like this is just pushing
God.
kids through.
Exactly.
So you're disillusioned from religion, then you're disillusioned from education.
Yes, yes.
I know it doesn't.
Now I'm
stay up.
disillusioned from comedy. So
Yes,
now I
there
have-
you go. That's okay. So many questions.
Yeah, go for it.
But okay, so Sigil Noah just finishes up college, and there's no even attempt. Was there any girls? So no girls even talked to you your senior year. You kind of really just
I didn't
finished
have time.
up. Yeah,
Like,
you just finishing up.
I'm constantly in school teaching.
But then you sabotage yourself. So what happens when you get out of school?
when I get out of school, I go work at Radio Shack.
Fucking using that college degree.
Because here's another thing I want you to understand is when I was doing my student teaching, horrible experiences. First off, the first because you had to do 3 schools.
Right.
The first school I did was AC High. I showed up in my suit and I sat down at my desk, and this kid sat down next to me and he went, "Who the fuck are you?" And I went, "Oh, I'm Mr. Houlihan. I'm a teacher in training. I'm going to be in here. I'm just going to be like observing your classroom." And he goes, "Oh, you want to play dice?"
I was like, I'll roll them bones.
I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, we play dice in the back. Maybe you can win some money. You want to play?"
What the?
And I went, "No, thank you. I need to observe." And he went, "All right, faggot," and walked away. I was like, "Jesus Christ!"
What the?
I was just like, "This." It was
Wow.
day
Also,
one.
dangerous
Day
minds.
one.
Right.
So like,
Also, imagine a full-grown man with gruff who's just playing a teenager. Like, yeah, you can win a little money, dude. Yeah, you want to get in on this crap games? Like, I cannot. Jesus Christ.
and
God.
just watching the education system fail.
Yeah.
Because like the classroom I watched, like it was very much no learning was going on, but a lot of like shit was going down and kids needed places to hide situations. It was like, I don't want to get beat up. I need to hide in here. And they're like, all right, cool.
Jesus.
And then I remember my teacher saying, listen, everybody listen up. All right. Tomorrow, superintendent's coming in here for an observation. All right. So I have to look really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the lesson we're going to do tomorrow today. This way you guys can see it. You guys know what you have to do. And then tomorrow, you're all going to be perfect little angels, and we're going to go through our lesson again. All right? It's going to look really good. And then on Thursday, you all get pork roll sandwiches. Pork roll sandwiches for everybody.
This is like what? This is like Serpico High.
Yeah.
Like,
It's insanity. It was insanity.
Fuck. Is this still AC high school?
That was AC High School.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fucking terrible. And then I did my actual student teaching at Gloucester High. So
Okay.
like walking distance from my house.
Right.
And I was like, all right, like eventually the teacher you're with like stops teaching and you're just doing everything.
Right.
And I was just like, all right, so I'm good for this. We'll start doing this here, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and on this day, you have to teach instead of me because I have to go to a career fair at my college to see if I can get a job.
Right.
And they were like, okay. Oh, she was like, okay, all right, cool. So that day comes, I drive all the way down to Stockton. It's an education job fair. So it's just for teachers.
Right.
Half the schools don't even show up because the economy was so bad they couldn't hire anybody.
Jesus.
So I walk in, it's just like a bunch of empty tables.
Right.
And then a few schools of people like, I'll take your resume, but we're not hiring.
Right. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And luckily, I remember I sat down with the guy who would eventually become my boss. And I sat down and I was like, you look sad and lonely. What's up? And he was like, yeah, we're an online school. Everybody here wants to be like in a classroom. I was like, wait, what go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean online school? I was like, yeah, like you'll probably end up working from home and like, you know, you'll still be teaching kids, but you know, it'll be through the internet. I was like, so it's teaching, but without a suit.
Right.
Yeah. You just wear your regular
Please.
clothes, and it's people. It's
Please.
people who actually want to learn and are motivated. You wouldn't be.
You wouldn't be interested in that at all. Yeah.
That sounds perfect. Okay, so then that
Don't even
you
have to
get
wear.
hired.
Don't
Yeah,
even have to
that's
wear
where I
pants.
ended up
Actually,
going.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I ended up going, and it's much better.
Yeah, you've been working there till this day.
Yes.
Is that what you did? Oh,
currently,
wow.
yeah.
Holy cow. Okay, so we got some fucking relationship trauma.
Yeah.
We got trauma, relationship trauma.
We got childhood and heart. We have the 4 topics we always hit on here, the 4 pillars of the Magical Misery Tour podcast.
Okay.
Which is childhood, trauma, heartbreak, and death.
You got a lot.
And
You got
death,
all those
yeah.
things going.
Yeah. Trauma. What would you say is the worst thing that ever happened to you?
Worst thing that ever happened to me ever.
Or also the worst thing you've ever done.
Ooh, I'm not a sinner, Jesse.
Fucking
come on, really?
Pious. We got a pious Pete over here.
Yeah, I'm trying. Worst thing that
Regrets.
I've ever done.
I always frame it as like regrets. Like, I mean, when people are like, I don't regret anything, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, I remember my girlfriend Tara being like, "If we don't have sex, are you gonna regret it?" I'm like, "No, I won't regret it." And now years later, I'm like, "So much I could have done. So much I could have done." Let's see. Worst.
Yeah, dude, it's okay. It's all good.
It's okay.
I mean, yeah, it's So I mean,
I
well,
killed a
haven't-
man.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go.
But
So
he had
There's
it
that
coming.
man I
There's
murdered.
a
Okay.
little something. I'm surprised there's no like hijinks when you're younger in like your friends group. Did you have a little like brood of friends? You know what I mean? When you were
like
younger,
when I was in like grade school, like because of like the Catholic school thing, like breaking the rules was insanity.
right?
And like I'll admit, I was like super lazy as a kid.
Okay.
Like because I have a memory of a bunch of my friends like knocking on my door, going like, "Hey, we're gonna play football. Do you have a football? Because we don't have a football."
right.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got a football." And I gave him a football, and he's like, "Do you want to come play
Right.
football with us?" And I went, "I don't even have shoes on." So like they took my football and went and play, and I was like, it's a shame.
All right, man.
Your dad.
I guess we'll go.
Your dad came home, saw the ball all scuffed up, like, all right,
What?
turn it around.
Yeah, dude. What's
All
going on?
right.
Oh no, my friends borrowed that. Yeah, you want Cheetos or no? You want Cheetos or no? Okay, whatever, dude. Like, oh my god, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Because like I know I always had like a fear of sports because I distinctly remember a time where like my dad was like, "Let's have a catch." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And we're throwing the football around, and I'm like having fun, and I'm like, "Oh, come and get me!" No, all right, throw it. And then he didn't like the way I was throwing the football, so he decided anytime I threw the ball incorrectly, he would fucking whiz it at me. And I was like, "I don't want to have a catch anymore." And I was like, "You know what? Sports are dumb."
Yep.
Yeah, Dad, you safely got me away from like you did the dishes thing, like, you know, yeah, no, I'll do the dishes, then you do them shittily, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You can't do the dishes anymore. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
you're out.
this is why we don't have catches because you're bad. I would have given anything. I mean, my dad. Here's something that people don't tell you about the catch from the father to the son. Is I remember distinctly, like I went out. You son of a bitch. That's right. That's right. God damn it, both of you. No, stop taking it over there. I hate you so much. Both of you. Okay, no, I get it. I won't talk. You guys go ahead. No, I'm sorry. No, I get it. Yeah. It's okay. Your mic's already off. Your mic's already off. That's because I'm not a moron. I can see you. I can see what you're doing, and I hate every part of you. But thank you. And also for the people who aren't watching this, they're just like, what's happening right now? They're just like, what is going on? And to let them know, these two douchebags are just, yeah, it's on now.
Neil,
Yeah.
can you refill this?
Nah,
Nah,
I hate you so much.
Tell me about the catch, Neil.
What you know is as soon as your father loses interest. If you notice the moment of just like a couple catches, but you can tell when he's not into it, a couple catches in, your dad's just like, yeah, fucking whatever. Dude.
You just see the way that.
Yeah.
So there's no good catches. You got to start throwing off each
Right.
other. You got to start throwing like, you know, off to the side and you're running and catching.
little
But my
back
dad
and
was
forth.
just like,
Here we
yep,
go.
you throw it and then throw it. And then before you know it, he's like, I'm like, Dad, you go catch.
No, I'm moving out.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. That was when I was 2. It was then it was just like, nah, son, you go ahead and have a catch, you know, yourself.
Yeah.
And I would go outside and be like, how the fuck? So it was just me throwing it up in the air, watching it come down.
Throw it and run.
No, and because we didn't even have like, it was an old garage, so I can't even throw it against a wall or anything. It's just me throwing it up and then down into my mitt. I'm gonna be the best baseball player. So
God, I
good,
hated
dude.
baseball.
Terrible at grounders, fly pops all
Fly
fucking
flops
day.
all day.
All day.
So good. Don't lose in the sun ever. Okay. So, but your dad, he was only the other way. So your dad, well, does your mom care about any of this? She's like, you should go talk to your dad, and you guys should try to.
The things that like stand out, like the trauma that I would talk to a therapist about, is I was big into video games.
Right.
And like I remember like telling my mom like, "Hey, I was playing this game, this happened," and she'd be like, "I like things that actually happened. How about things that happened in reality? How
Right.
about we talk about something like
That's
that?"
an icy mom.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, and I was just like,
devalue your entire interest.
and like because like I loved games.
Right.
Like games I thought were just like so interesting, like board
Right.
games and stuff like that. I don't remember this, but apparently the first time I ever played a board game, I was so excited I peed.
Oh, dude,
Wow.
you're so adorable.
Yeah, I have no memory.
Do you
of that.
remember what the game
Check me.
was?
I remember, but this is a story my mom told me, so I have no memory of this. But like, I loved board games, and my family would just like buy me board games for Christmas that we would never play because my mom hated board games, and my dad just didn't want to play board
Right.
games. So like a lot of like
So your dad's a cop, right?
no,
No? Oh, I
No.
don't know why I thought he was a cop.
he looks like a cop.
Oh, he does look like a cop. That's
No.
right. Okay, yeah, he's jacked and
Yeah,
all that.
he works for Pico Energy.
Oh.
But like, so there was a lot of like, all right, let's check out this game, and I'd read the rules, and I was like, I can play this alone. So like, lot of like lonely rounds of life. And it's like, I'm a cop this time.
Sure, this won't
Yeah.
come back to haunt me.
Yeah.
This is probably fine, right? This is gonna be okay.
Just playing the game of life. Like, I think my dad would be proud if I went this way.
Yeah, I went to college. But I remember, like, after I went to college and came back, my mom got super into Facebook. So she was like, Noah, let me tell you about Farmville. And she would just talk to me about Farmville, and I would stare at her like,
Right.
I prefer real farms.
I prefer real farm. Like, I'd never brought myself to the point of saying that. But I was always just like, couldn't have this conversation with me when I was 8.
Right.
Just couldn't do it.
Like, even if you brought it up, moms have that perfect latter-day mom defense of, oh, I never said that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's why it etched itself into my
My
conscious
psyche.
mind. One of my first memories.
Yeah,
That's it.
how I developed as a person.
Yeah.
I also love the conversation. Like, I like to think about the things that are real. All right, no, there's never going to be an economy that you can actually make money at game playing. All right, there's not. All right, so just get it together. Go be a priest.
And as the number one video game stand-up comedian,
right, TV's no.
I can tell you right now that there is no money in it.
There's a little kind of.
Yeah,
you're
I'm
doing
not
all
making
right.
it though.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
not making
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Someone is profiting off of it.
Someone is Nerdist, and that's about it. I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know, man. So I mean, you don't have any like. Wow, well, good for you not having any regrets. I don't know.
I mean,
got
I'd
tons
say,
of
all right,
regrets.
you find a lot of solace in games. You know what? We typically ask this about music, but I think I'm going to add a game option as well.
Yeah.
Is there any particular song or movie or game that just hits you emotionally in a big spot? Like, if you're really feeling down, where do you find solace to just wallow or indulge in that feeling?
Let's see. I was never a big music guy.
Okay.
But I would always feel like whenever I was in like a broke up situation, that song "Gotta Get Through This" would come on.
I don't know that song.
Gotta get through this.
Gotta get through this. I gotta
gotta make
make-
my way off this.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
me just a second and I'll be okay. It was also a Dance Revolution.
Yeah, yeah.
song.
You don't know that
Oh,
song? I was gonna
okay.
say, yeah, that's definitely. But what do you? So you did because you know the music. You into the music one, which is awesome. I know that song. That's kind of a crazy song.
Yeah.
to be like real sad. Gotta get through. I gotta make it through. That's fucking insane.
Just
But
fucking
what?
dancing, tears.
Yeah, I mean, what video game? 'Cause we actually had you on. I don't think we actually like the nostalgia. What's probably the highest game that brings the most nostalgia back to you from your childhood?
I mean, like honestly, Dance Revolution is one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I used to
your-
be a master at
Your
Dance
father.
Revolution.
Were you-
He's theater. He's dancing in our home. Jesus.
Well,
Can
that's
I
what I was
get one?
That's another way
That's
I
what I was
lost a lot of weight.
Oh,
were
yeah.
you an arcade one or a home one?
I had it at home,
Mhm.
and then like I would prepare, and then I'd go to the arcades and just fucking
Oh,
tear
okay.
it
my
down.
God.
Dude,
like, I
our
remember-
arcades as a social scene
Yeah.
were fucking awesome.
Yeah, I used to like flip over the bars and shit like that.
Jesus
and
Christ.
I had a notebook that had
No.
the
No,
arrows
no,
in it.
no,
So I
no.
could like, okay, I could do a spin there. All right.
Oh my God.
Like, I was all about it. And so, like, anytime I go to an arcade, I'm like, well, there's a fucking Dance Dance Revolution machine. Let's see if the kids still got it.
Just looking at it like a retired pitcher, looking at the old mitt, like, let's throw a few heaters.
Let me tell you how cool I was. In high school, I brought Dance Dance Revolution
No.
to school.
No.
No, that can be the cool guy.
And I was
People are into it.
I was just like, come on, let's all do it. And everyone got into it. And
Okay.
like I remember there was this weird like cult around it that would happen where because you had two pads, two people would play, but then everyone would stand around and do it anyway to kind of like practice.
You're right.
So it looked like real culty.
Yeah.
And like the school took notice of it and was just like, all right, everyone's kind of into it. It's getting them moving. Like there's nothing like offensive about this.
Right.
Cool. We are happy to announce that DDR will be available at prom. And,
Fuck.
and everyone was like, I don't want this fucking video game. Prom?
Right.
Yeah, prom is supposed to like it's kind of like
We're gonna grind on each other.
Yeah.
We're growing up and it's like our last parts of high school and we're getting out. Noah fucking ruined prom. Noah ruined prom.
Come on.
So like we had to have like a meeting, and it was just kind of like a lot of people have
Call to
expressed-
order.
Yeah. Like they pulled,
Serious.
they
That was
pulled-
on a pulpit. Like,
They pulled me aside and they were like, "Look, we had a meeting. And we
Jesus
don't want to
Christ.
upset you, but a lot of people are upset about the idea of there being DDR at prom. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a vote, and if people don't want it there, we have to take it away." And I was like, "I don't care.
Right.
I don't care."
It's one of those things where it's like, seems like you guys have been having a ton of conversations and haven't talked to me
Yeah.
at all. I don't give a fuck.
Were
not
they
care.
under the impression that this was something you Mr. Wizarded at
It'll
home
br-
and brought in yourself?
Yeah, because they're
I
like,
know
dude,
he
it'll break him. It'll if he hears that there's a whiff. If he hears that, it'll break him.
He worked
all
so
right?
hard.
Yeah. Writing all those songs.
Because you got to remember, in that small community, they're probably like, I mean, he basically invented this game. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, he basically brought this to our attention, and it's basically a phenom. So if we tell him we can't do it, I mean, he's listen, guys, he's the lonely kid.
Noah,
He'll kill
Noah,
himself. He'll kill himself. We're gonna have a real Carrie situation, is what
Right.
I'm saying.
All right,
Dude,
Noah, this is the deal we are prepared to offer you. We
Yeah.
are taking the
We will have
DDR off the table.
Yes.
We will skew the votes. You will be prom king.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've had a pity prize, but
yeah.
Well,
Well, what they ended up doing was, and this was absolute insanity. After prom, there's the after prom party. Of
course.
And then that day, we left for senior trip.
Oh.
So it was kind of their idea of being like, you can't go out and get drunk because you can't be drunk on the airplane.
Right.
So
that's
stuff like
actually
that.
not
too shabby.
Yeah,
Not
not too
bad.
bad.
We will have DDR at the after party. And I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, can you bring it? I'm like, all right. So I brought DDR. I set it up at the after party. I did like one song and nobody else did it. And I was like, all right, I did it, everybody.
Yeah, you read the crowd. That's
Fine.
good. See, oh God, all right. You reminded me of my own nostalgic high school story, but I want to put out there something that we haven't touched on at all. You're really into wrestling. Saddest wrestling angle. Well, not even saddest, just something that like filled you emotionally at a young age, Satan. But before that, I want to get to my own thing. In high school, Triton High, class of 2005, we had like a really whimsical class. Like my aunt was the secretary for the principal. And she told us after like the teachers all missed the class of 05. You guys didn't. If you ever got in fights, it was with like different grades. You got a long fine. You didn't get in too much trouble. By whimsical, there was this group of guys. They started bringing the hardcore championship belt into school. And for fans of WWE, the hardcore belt can be defended anywhere 24/7. There would literally, you'd be walking to and from class, and big hokey fake wrestling matches would break out, and there'd be like title changes in the hallways. This went on for weeks, and everybody loved it but it was disruptive until one day in the middle of a match, Mr. Stahl, the principal, comes in and actually he got the 1, 2, 3. I think he pulled this kid aside and like, listen, you can't. I love what you guys are doing, but you can't do this. Can we work something out? He comes in and gets the 1, 2, 3 on a kid and says, I'm the hardcore champion. And until the day he retired, the fucking belt was up in his office.
Holy shit, dude. Okay, so you went to the coolest high school ever.
That was only one phase. There was a period where they were having like lightsaber fights in the hallways. There'd just be dudes with their hoods up, and then you'd see them catch eyes, and they'd fucking unsheath
Oh, that's
and go at it.
amazing. No, go ahead.
Did you go to a school with someone named Jimmy or James? I'm trying to think of the last name.
So what year did you
Are you
graduate?
trying to
05?
John Edwards cold read me?
No.
I'm hearing an M. There's an M. No, but you've heard of this, so you probably knew somebody that went there.
There were a few.
Yes.
There were a few Jims or James.
Sure.
Jimmy Hunt.
No, I don't know. I don't think Hunt was.
That was the first one that came to mind that I could think might like Venn diagram.
Fuck. What the fuck was his last name? I heard this story before.
Yeah.
Shit.
It was from the guy.
It's told all throughout the high schools.
I didn't
As
think
legend.
Right, ready. We're gonna unpack some shit. Tara was fucking this other guy.
Oh shit! This will be amazing.
And
Can we get her on the phone? She's still on the family plan, right? That's a little.
yeah. It's free nights and weekends. We said it.
Oh god.
Fuck. But yeah, let's fucking unpack this. Tara, I'm sorry I used your name, but I've already established it, so we're doing it. She because she was a commuter at her college, she didn't have a lot of friends.
Right.
So she started hanging out with this guy, Jimmy.
Okay.
And I was just like, it's cool. Like, I want you to have friends. Like, I
Sure.
don't want to be your entire life.
Right.
So, like, go out and have, like,
Of course. You want a healthy relationship.
healthy with the relationship. And I met him once, and, like, I felt this weird adversary thing.
Mhm.
And, like, as a joke, when I was the president of Theater Club, we had a world title belt.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in my car. And the first time I met him, he got into my car, saw that belt, and told me that story.
Okay.
Oh.
So I was like, interesting. And like, just the whole time, just little digs.
Yeah,
Little
always.
digs. Because like, I remember I was going to we went out to eat, and I was going to order a cheeseburger. And he went on a rant about how like American cheese is the worst cheese after I ordered a burger with
Right.
American cheese. I was like,
Okay.
Right.
that's fucking weird.
So he was stunting on you a little bit, trying to show his dominance.
And like, I remember one Christmas, I got Laura one of the, or excuse me, cut this. I got Tara an iPod Shuffle, like one of those like super fucking small ones.
Yeah, of course. I remember that.
And he got her an iPod Touch.
Mm.
And I was like,
One up again.
interesting,
Good
yeah. and like,
Look, that's not a friend gift. I just want to.
No.
I mean,
oh,
that's,
that was like one of several gifts.
yeah. See,
It
that's
was
that's not a.
like a big stuffed animal. Season 1 of the Venture Brothers.
Okay, yeah. This is not.
Yeah.
He's trying to buy vagina.
Yeah.
Is what
Yeah,
that's
and
happening.
I'm
there.
an idiot,
Right.
Because I'm so loyal to
Like,
her.
this is a
that-
good guy.
that I was. She was just like, my dad's really upset that he bought all this stuff, and I was like,
jeez.
I mean, if he wants to buy you stuff, I mean, now you have stuff.
Oh, I've been there.
What's the problem? here?
Yeah, I mean,
So
let me get some of that stuff.
one night, me and her have a fight, and
You take the shuffle, I'll take the touch. Sorry, go ahead.
we're in bed and like we're fighting, and it's getting to like 3 a.m, and I'm just like, Tara, we're gonna continue this tomorrow, because I am going the fuck to sleep.
Right.
So I went to sleep. She got up and was like up for like an hour. Came back, just fucking punched me. I was like, what? And she's like, we have to talk. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. So we start talking, and eventually she just like kind of drops out of nowhere. I feel like I'm about to throw up. And I'm like, well, then don't do it here. She's like, no, I have to tell you something.
You sure you don't need me to get you Pepto or something?
Yeah. She's like, me and Jimmy kissed.
Right.
Like
Kissed.
we made out, or it's just like I'm half asleep, so I'm like,
yeah, kissing's good. I like kissing.
not a yeah. I'm like not a fan of this.
I love those bed boas. I'm
And-
still eyes closed. Not a fan of what's happening right now. Definitely not a fan.
And like the power of retrospect was like she was trying to bait me into breaking up.
Yes, clearly.
Is what was happening. I was just like, okay, I forgive you. And she's like,
Whoa,
what?
no. Oh, she's infuriated. She's like, what?
I was like, I forgive you. I think though, like if you hang out with him again, no drinking. Like, way too reasonable.
You are being such an
Way too
adult. Like, and then
reasonable.
you're. It's almost like you're a principal of a school. Like, well, next time we'll just make sure they're not in the same room together, and we'll just,
Play
you
some
only have
DDR.
3 crackers, and then maybe we'll figure out what happens.
And then she was like, okay, we went to sleep. And then the next time she was, I think like the next Monday, I called her at 9 because it's free nights and weekends. And I was like, hey, what's up? And she was like, I'm with Jimmy and we're drunk.
Fuck. Fuck.
And I was like, what? She's like,
I am
"Yeah."
playing DDR right now. Sorry.
And I was like, I don't want to talk to you while you're drunk. And we hung up. And I called her the next night because I had to wait till 9. And I was like, so what the hell were you doing with Jimmy? He's like, oh, it was fun. We were drinking wet red wine. And we were
Ugh.
just having a good time. And like, there's also a whole part where she was like, Jimmy had to follow behind me as I drove home because I was so drunk. I was
Oh.
like, that's not a good story.
Jesus.
And I was like, I told you.
Right.
Like, the one rule was
Right.
no getting drunk with Jimmy. She's like, I don't remember you saying that. And I was like, okay, well, if this happens again.
2 demerits. All right, young lady, you're on 2 demerits. You're on fucking a thin edge.
You know what's after this? A written warning. Do you really? Do you really?
Now go along and cheat on me again. God damn, I'm sorry, no, I keep cutting you off. I just love the idea of you just like cross with a suit on, just like, well, where do you think you went wrong? Where do you think? It's like, this is a relationship we're in.
We dated for another 6 months before she eventually was like, I don't miss you.
I remember
Take
being,
a goddamn hint. I moved or stayed away.
I remember being a pushover. It's fine, dude. Don't worry about it. We were all, well, because you just wanted to, like, it sounds like, especially with a commitment guy, commitment meant something, obviously. You're like, this matters, right? This is a big thing. So we either need to move through this.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you, and also, I mean, how many, what, 2 or 3 big relationships you said, right? The shortest being 6 months.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and you're not doing a lot of dating outside of that? Or like
I mean, I was with Tara for 6 years.
6 years.
Because
Fuck.
we were.
Right.
Yeah, we started in high school.
High school.
And then all 4
3
years. So 5 years.
Yeah. So yeah, you just really, you're like, well, we'll move past this and we'll go on because we'll be married one day, right? And I just love, but she's trying to fucking get out of it. I'm surprised your friends, see, that's the thing when I'm agreeing with Jesse, like your friends would just go, hey man, what's happening over here? They're doing the clap in between, says, what's going on? Like, why are you not breaking up with her?
Well,
Like,
I'm not telling them.
You're not telling them, right? Yeah,
because, like, I'm not going to put them on blast. They're
Sure.
my girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Very stupid. Very stupid. And then I dated another girl who
'Cause-
immediately cheated on me.
Damn.
Because these are her words. You guys are going to love this one. You need to understand, I'm a sexual werewolf. When the moon is full, I cannot control myself.
Neil, I got an idea for a script.
Jesse, I'm going to cut the camera to you. You tell me. What are you pitching?
Okay.
What are you pitching,
so
buddy?
Here's what I think is oh god. Okay. So
So many ideas. So many
yeah,
ideas.
on the full moon, her breasts get larger. That'll be in the trailer. That'll be in the trailer right there. And oh, and
I'm changing.
you know how it ends? You know how it ends? Guy, silver cock ring. Done. And then they're married.
I love it. He's got to wear it at all times. Jesus Christ.
I-
Also, but wait, when she said that, was she like, she cheated on you and you were like, hey, I walked in on you fucking another guy. Just curious here. What's going on? Oh, I didn't tell you? I'm a fucking sexual werewolf, dude. Like,
Well,
when did
like,
that come up?
There's a girl I met online, and
You're like, the internet solves everything.
Yes.
And
and this
someone-
is like me, like I got to get back in the game after
Right.
that. So like, we like on our 3rd date, I took her on a +2 comedy trip to Ohio for a weekend.
Whoa, look at you swinging +2 comedy weight around.
Yeah, well, this was our first. This was the first +2 comedy show ever.
Shit.
Was this show? So it's me, the original +2 comedy guys, which was Will and TJ, and then this girl.
I'm not teaching. Okay, yeah.
So we roll up to the convention. This was our first time doing a show, so we didn't really know like what's going to happen when we
Right.
do comedy, and we fucking killed. Like it was
Nice.
like it was a room that sat 300, and it had 100 when we started and filled by the end. So like people were like coming in like, we have to stay for this. So like we had this fucking amazing show. Everything was like fucking awesome. And then it's like, let's take these guys to the after party. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. We're all doing shots. I kept saying she wasn't my girlfriend, but I just finally broke. I was like, yeah, she's my girlfriend. Was making out with all these women. Just all these women. I'm like, this is great.
Best day ever.
I know how this will end.
Yes.
It's going to end with a three-way. It's going to happen.
It's you on a king's chair with
Yeah.
the women fawning around you, and she's off to the right. Like, you
yes.
are.
So, like, me and her are, like, actively like, yeah, that was hot. Do you guys, should we leave the party, perhaps? And they're like, nah, we're drinking. I'm like, all right, drinking, yeah. So that was Friday night. Saturday night, there's another, like, big or party. And then Sunday night, there's another party, and we're staying till Monday. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. So the Sunday night party is
That's when I checked the lunar chart and realized I was in trouble.
yes. They don't. It's just kind of like the people who run the con, and we're kind of new, so everybody wants to kind of like talk to us. And we're like, yeah. So we're drinking, and it hits midnight. It's like midnight, no shirts o'clock.
Nice.
And so everyone pulls off their shirts. I'm like, okay. So it's just like boobs around, and we're drinking. And I'm like, all right, cool. This is great. I start getting like into wrestler mode. We got to get back to that. We get into wrestler mode, and I give Will a chop. Boom! Right on the chest. And I was like, give me one back. Boom! Yeah, we're men. Boom! And then he just punches me in the balls. I'm like, oh!
What the fuck?
I was like, oh.
Will.
Party over.
Yeah.
Oh. So I see that my girl is talking to this other guy. I'm like, okay, they'll be fine. I'm going to go to bed.
She look hairier than usual.
And I'm like, listen,
I
guys.
go to bed.
And I'm like, I just want you guys to know I'm going to go to bed because I have to drive us to New Jersey, which
Right.
is 12 hours tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to go to bed. If you guys want to stay here, you can stay here. But, like, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm like,
Does
okay.
she have a shirt on at this
No.
point?
I'm a very dumb man.
No. I mean, well, when
No.
Oh,
Well,
I would say, well, no. I mean, what you're obviously judging is like, because she would be like, "Oh, I'm going to bed. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to go to bed with my boyfriend." Clearly, as soon as it's like, with also the other kind of flags that are hitting there, but like, as soon as she's just like, "You're staying up," she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to stay up." You stay up with your boobs out. Okay. No. I'm just yeah, that's good. I mean, everyone's boobs are out, so it's fine.
And you're just going to the room,
Right,
going
right.
to bed, just like, oh boy, I am Bush. What's that?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm in bed. And
Right.
I'm sleeping.
Great day. Boobs out. Great day, man.
What a fun day. She comes in at 7:30 in the morning. She gets up all spoony and she's like, "Hey, we gotta talk." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever. I'm sleeping, but whatever." She's like, "So when you were gone, Will got really handsy with all the women there."
Oh,
Because
that sounds terrible, babe. Why's your breath smell salty?
Because their boobs were all out.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay. So what happened? She's like, well, he just kept doing it. They kept telling him to stop. And they kept saying, stop, you're being that guy.
Yeah.
And every time he did it, he would say, fine, arrest me. My name's Noah Houlihan.
What? Fucking Jesus Christ.
And I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
And she's like, yes, that's what happened. So I got real scared. So I went and stayed in the room with this other guy.
What
And I was like,
the
okay,
fuck?
I'm glad you were safe.
Wait.
I mean, here's fine, right? Here's a fine place. Weird. So he eventually stumbles in at like
Sure.
8:30. We got to check out at like 11.
Right.
So I get up.
He being Will, not this other guy.
Will,
that she's-
yeah.
Okay.
I get up. I pack up all the shit. I'm like, all right, I guess I should find out what happened last night. So I opened the door to because we also haven't been paid yet.
You're like, hey, Will, I heard you went straight Jeff Goldblum on everybody last night. Just touch it. You haven't been paid yet. Okay.
Will is blacked out.
Ugh.
I walk up and I go up to the guy who's in charge of the con. I was like, hey, man, I just want to talk. And he went, yo, we got to talk about Noah.
For anyone who knows Noah, I'm sorry, I just said Noah. Jesse's just hanging his head down if you're not watching this. Because I can't believe it worked. We have to talk about Noah. We have to talk about Kevin.
I'm sorry you came upon a master criminal.
Oh, that is.
When you said werewolf, I did not imagine a second monster to rear its head in this story.
Surprise twist in the story.
Holy shit.
So I was just like,
There's always an apprentice and a master.
So eventually we get paid and we leave. We do this con again a year later.
Yeah.
And maybe even 2 years later. And I show
And
up.
I'm going by Patty O'Leary. Like, I'm not using Noah
And,
Glenn anymore.
Need something less rapey. Theodore Bundy.
the first guy I see is the one guy from the party. I'm like, yo, hey, man. He's like, oh, you're here. Awesome. You didn't bring Noah, did you? And I was like,
Who does he think Noah really is? That's what I mean, because Will
And
is
I'm
also
like-
there.
'cause they think I'm Will.
I know, but okay. But then when Will is there.
When we went back, Will did not come.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're like, you didn't bring Noah, dude. It's like, oh, dude, I'm Noah.
He's like, duh. Call somebody. What?
Yeah, I'm Noah. That was Will. He was really drunk. He goes, oh, so you're Noah. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, is your girlfriend here?
Right.
And then I had been so upset about all this Will stuff that like the Rolodex was like, tick, 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 tick. Oh, he probably fucked my girlfriend too. Oh no!
Oh, dude. This whole time I was just thought I was gonna be brought up on assault charges.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, now like in my brain, this is me still just like justifying shit.
Right.
Where this guy was fucking my girlfriend going, that guy's an asshole.
Right,
I just watched
yeah.
him sexually assault a bunch of people. Yeah, I'm saving him. And now it's like,
Curling the back of her head, like, you know what I mean? Just up close, sexual level. Like, I saved you, girl, from Noah. That is a nightmare. That is actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever. Well, I guess I don't. I wouldn't know. That statement is true. I don't know if I've ever been cheated on. I don't think so. I would hope that someone in my past would have told me.
it's
I have. It's not fun.
yeah, it's
it's
not a good
all
time.
circumstantial evidence,
Right.
but I'm almost positive that they both did.
I mean, she clearly. I mean, well, because that was her telling you, right? That was her in a roundabout way. Because I'm like, well, I'm not gonna not tell him that I was in that room.
There's
I'm
a
just
lot
gonna be
of
like, yeah,
details.
Will gets crazy, and I had to protect her. I just happened to stay in his room, and you're like, yeah, okay.
yeah,
I'm glad
I
you were
didn't
safe.
ask the follow-up question of,
Right.
well, what happened?
Right, that's-
which
yeah.
is what I should have
That's
done.
her being like, I told him, and but the sexual werewolf part. When did that come in?
I got a little confused with the part of the story where you got up and went to another room. Like, was she trying to get you out of the room to fuck the guy in this room?
No,
or
he's
something?
asleep already. He's asleep.
Right, but
She
you
stayed
said
I
up.
went to my room.
Right.
I
Okay.
left the party room to go to
Right.
my room.
But from there, did you go to another room
No.
when she said, "Okay, I missed something"?
No,
No,
that's
she
okay.
she came in like from the parties and was
Yeah.
like, now that the day is over,
If you're-
I was just
yeah.
sleep.
If you're wondering
Yeah.
why I wasn't here last night
Yeah.
and not waking up next to you, is because Will was all
Yeah.
Will was saying he was Noah, and then I was scared and I went over to fucking fuck Jimmy.
Yeah. So then, like, I just want you to really put into perspective.
Yeah.
TJ had like a voice acting audition, so he flew home.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove
Oh yes.
Will and my girlfriend 12 hours back to Jersey, and they were both passed out the whole time
Right.
because they were up either fucking or sexually assaulting people.
Jesus.
Wait, Will did this too?
Are
I
you
missed something.
fucking ridiculous,
Dude,
dude?
did you miss the whole story?
I missed.
He goes to
something.
bed. I'm looking directly at you. Noah, take a break.
Okay.
Take a break. Let me put it on Jesse. He's at the party. Everything's going good. Boobs are out. It's a good time. This girl's over there talking to some guy. Right?
Okay.
Cool.
The some guy
Will
is Will.
is not Will. It's just some
Okay,
guy.
that's
His
okay.
name is also James. Whatever.
Okay, okay.
Right? Yeah. So he's like, well, I'm gonna go to bed because I have to drive them tomorrow. He goes to bed. He goes to his room. Right? She comes in.
Responsible.
Yes, responsibly.
Right.
She comes in at 7:30, and it's like telling him the story. It's like, hey, Will last night was super drunk and he was touchy, a lot of ladies.
Okay.
And he was saying he was you. He was saying he was Noah.
Right.
And that got real weird. And then she loops in the fact that she cheated was the loop in. She goes, yeah, so I went to go stay at James's room because I was real scared, which is me in my head. That is her being like, whew, God, I told him.
Yeah.
She didn't tell him because he didn't have any follow-up questions. And thinking that's why he's just like, well, I'm glad you were safe. Not thinking, he's like, wait, why isn't she here? Because here is safe. That's why he said that.
Yeah.
Right? So then he comes back the next year. Will is not there. Everyone thinks then he's pieces out the fact that he's not he is Noah and that that was Will who was saying it. And then he also then makes a connection. It's like fuck what? Oh shit! They were cheating. I was being cheated on. That's what she meant. Like it's a whole year that passes. Right?
Yeah.
He's just like his dick.
But this is also the girl that I called like randomly. And it was just like, hey, just checking in. What are you up to? And she went, nothing. Why do you ask? I was like,
What is it? I don't know. Are you breathing heavy? What's going on, baby?
I've been at work from 8 to 4. Multiple people will attest to that.
Yeah.
You've got nothing on me.
That was a
Houlihan.
weird relationship.
I mean,
because she lived in Brick.
Oh.
So she was like,
That's
up
way
in North
up there.
Jersey.
Yeah.
And like the way I had learned what a relationship is I call you and we talk for hours.
Yes.
So I would call her like, hey, let's just talk. And she was like, I'm playing video games. And I
Right.
was like, okay, I'll talk to you while you play video games. She was like, okay. I was like, it's not the joke. It's not the punchline you're
Right.
expecting. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm playing video games. So what are you playing? She's like, Rock Band. I was like, all right, I don't think this is going to work.
Hold on, solo. Like just. Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh, nailed
was
that,
not
Phil.
it's like if you want sex, wait for a full moon.
This is insane.
Wow.
So I mean, in terms of regret, see, I have a relationship regret. It was probably for you. Just like I wish I was not so naive, maybe. Like, because you're just like not picking up on. You're like, no one hurts me.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I get that. I mean, I didn't have anybody cheat on me that I know of, but I did break up with a girl. I felt bad. I was maybe like 14. Broke up with a girl to make out with another girl.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have it on my consciousness. Like, I couldn't have my conscience. So I was like, all right, I'll be right back. She wants to make out about a bar. So I call my current girlfriend for like 6 weeks or something. I'm just like, we have to break up. And she's like, what? Why? What are you talking about? She's like, we have to break up. And then click.
Well,
And I was like, let's go French.
Nice. Well, I told you my cheater was I stole this girl away from her boyfriend, which even that sentence gets complicated because her boyfriend was like flirting with transitioning into a woman.
Okay.
And this was like a terrible high school relationship she was still stuck in. So I had no fucking respect for it. Like, yeah, I'll yank you out of that. Whatever.
Right.
I'm 22.
Childhood ignorance.
Exactly.
Wait, 22.
I was 22. She was 19.
Oh, gotcha.
So I don't respect a high school fucking relationship.
Sure.
And
Still in high school?
she
I
kept.
guess so.
Yeah. But well, no, they'd been together since high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But we continually broke up because she kept cheating on me with her ex-boy/girlfriend. And we almost got in multiple fist fights, and it just never quite happened. And I only went through with it because she was smoking hot.
But
She's a cam whore now, actually.
Yeah.
Married with a kid, still a cam whore.
Cam whore. You're using cam whore now loosely? You're saying cam whore. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Not cam girl. You're saying cam whore.
Oh, well, cam girl.
I know your dad's
guess.
dying. There's no reason to be rude. They are making. I know your second dad is dying because the world doesn't want you to be happy.
Right.
But yeah, but easy with that shit, dude. I mean, there's no reason. You know what I mean?
It's a
They're
colloquial
fucking
term.
working. They're working girls.
So
right?
Noah's saddest wrestling angle.
Actually, yeah. Enough Jesse Neal stories because we gotta get into this.
I know that when Shawn Michaels first retired, I cried.
Oh, when he lost his smile?
Yeah, and they were playing the "Tell Me a Lie" music video.
Pull up Shawn Michaels, Tell Me a Lie.
Tell me a lie and say that you won't go.
Leaving. Oh, God.
Look in my eyes. Tell me. Yeah, this is all
Right.
like
So-
still in my heart.
So there's two stories to the Shawn Michaels first retirement. Us as small children, all we knew was that Shawn Michaels was the WWF Heavyweight Championship, but he couldn't compete anymore because he had lost his smile. And I felt for him.
It was because his knee didn't work.
Yeah. So
But he added.
He spelled
There it is. There it is.
So it's just the top one, bro?
Yeah.
But also, more accurately, he didn't want to lose the belt to Bret Hart, so he faked a retirement. This guy,
This 100%.
Yeah, right.
even the music.
Oh, 100% the music.
Yeah, dude.
No,
this
you
is
all
like
my
an
life.
original song.
I think. Wait,
At least that's
sorry,
how
guys.
it
I wish
seems.
PE was here. Or Purdue, 'cause he-
Never known another way.
Don't think it's your
Living out a dream.
Right.
Yeah, but the song.
Now I know you leave me, and I'll never
No,
understand.
that's a song. It's a
It's
song.
an
Or I let you walk away. I have one last demand. Tell me a lie. Say I won't go.
Have to walk away.
Look in my eyes and hold me, even though I realize you have to walk away.
Tell me,
No more yesterday.
I recognize. Have to
There was so many actually. I appreciate
Look into my eyes. So
Flying
what is
high,
the because I don't know anything about this. So show me.
always looking out for me. Angels
It's just
of
cuts
love.
of yeah.
Now my dreams are fading like age-old photographs. Hurt too much to look at now. Reminders of our past. Tell me a lie that you won't go.
WWE champion and the way or WWF champion and is the way to doing that is going to be through beating Bret Hart in a 60-minute match. Now on the road to this, he gets jumped by 9 guys.
Real life. This is real
Oh.
life, non-kayfabe.
In real life.
Oh, non-kayfabe.
Yeah.
Holy
like
shit.
he was supposed to defend the Intercontinental Championship. 9 dudes jump out of a car,
Marines.
fuck him up, and like make it so he can't wrestle.
What?
Now in
Yeah, no, this literally
Was there
happened.
any? Did they end up like finding those guys, or like what the fuck? Why they did it and stuff? Or
He was a very pulled up asshole at
they,
the time.
they leave out the part that it's entirely Shawn Michaels' fault.
Seemingly,
He was-
he'd
okay.
been in the bar starting shit, and then he went and passed
Yeah.
out in the car with the door open, and then these guys went to leave. Like, there's that fucking asshole,
Right.
And they just lumped him the fuck up, and none of the wrestlers were outside.
Because I remember my mom being like, "He got no bar fight." I'm like, "No, he was attacked by a gang."
Yeah.
upstanding Marines.
Yeah.
So weird. A
It pro-
roving gang of
It
Marines.
probably happened for the normal reasons assaults happen. I think he was defending America. And those
So he
United
gets-
States Marines could
yeah. Hey, you defending America over there?
Jesus. Okay, so he gets beat up by 9
So he gets
guys.
beat up, and then like he finally wins the belt, and like he goes on the Boyhood Dream run where he beats Vader, he beats Psycho Sid. Psycho Sid assaults his manager Jose Lothario. So like invested in this shit, and then it's just like one day he's just like, hey, I can't anymore, and he just gives the belt up. And like sadly walks away, and like there's a moment where he's like, "Huh?"
He looks back. He just like a Hulk look back.
Yeah,
It's
and like maybe no, I can't. To my knees, just so bad, and like it was just like crushing.
It was. There were
Uh,
people crying in the crowd. I remember very clearly when he gave it up, and like you said, it's just I've lost my smile. I
Yeah.
can't. I
Oh
can't.
shit.
So the truth of this is,
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels figured out that he could make more money in WCW, and he was just like, well, I bet I could if I threaten to go to WCW, but I'm hurt.
Right.
I bet I can get paid to stay at home and do pills. And that's what he does.
Oh.
And then like his contract starts to like run out. And he's like, Vince, I'm better. I can wrestle again. And then he's like, I'm back. And we're like, oh my God, Shawn Michaels has returned. Oh.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
I love wrestling.
Wrestling is great.
Specifically for shit like that.
That's insane.
All right. Well, you know what? We found a song that made you sad, which means we need to get to our
Oh, yeah.
our weekly dip. This is our first ever solicited. By the way, I haven't recorded it yet, but there is going to be a jingle. There's going to be a
cool.
jingle. It's
Nice.
when life's got you down and you're feeling weak. Listen to the depressive, suicidal black metal song of the week.
Okay.
And then I think at the end we can have you do like,
Tell me a lie.
You're so better. You're so much better at callbacks than I am.
So I actually solicited this one. I reached out to the Reddit
Hold on.
/r/DSBM.
Oh yeah, baby.
You 100% just could have called this a listener submitted song.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, you were like, no, this is one I had to solicit and seek out.
That's right.
Perfect.
I'm only looking for the best of the best, and this is one of 2 people who got back to me. But this is it. We have permission to play this guy's music. So the band is Wanderer of the Waste, and the song is called Bleak Horizons. So Neil, if you could pull that up, and I'll read some lyrics after we're done.
So yeah, I'm gonna put it on low so they'll hear it and it'll come up. You don't get me, Dad. You do not get me. Dork.
It fits all the stereotypes. You know, it does sound like it's made in a basement, and you can barely hear the singer, as usual. I think you can shoot.
Yeah, that's the network one.
I get a little He's like, let's get the big grins on my face. He's like, we're good. Correctly, you're not on stage. It's got nothing to do with it, right? This isn't between you. It's some comic on stage. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we can say that.
What? I don't even remember. I was not there.
It was Neil.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't there because I don't remember this.
Neil said something about women with dead sons are bitches and should shut up about it.
Yeah.
I did say that. That's
And this just goes to show like my philosophy on comedy versus other people. Someone goes up and makes a joke about heroin.
Right.
I
remember hearing this because you told me, but I was not there.
I want to say it's maybe. I want to say it was someone that like is a
Right.
staple of
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
want to say it was like
Yeah.
a Haggerty
Right.
or maybe a Jeremy even.
Right.
And makes a joke about heroin, and this woman starts to cry in the audience
Right.
because her son had recently passed away.
Right.
And like I get it. Like
Yeah.
that's something
Sure.
that triggers her and it makes her cry.
Right.
And she had been a problem earlier because she was drunk
Yeah.
when she showed up, and I'm like, okay, like I understand she's not our favorite person,
Right.
but hey, bringing up heroin makes her cry.
Mhm.
Let's be cool.
Right.
And then another comedian, and I forget your name, and I'm sorry, but it's because you haven't been back since this happened.
Right.
Was going to do jokes about his brother who had died of heroin, and the way I experience this
Right.
is the situation happens where she starts to cry. We get her calmed down. I'm not hosting or anything. I'm like, I'm going to go outside and just kind of like chill.
Mhm.
So I'm just like relaxing and just like taking some breaths, and I'm outside. And Shane, who used to be part of High Note, comes flying out the door going, hey, he's on stage yelling at this woman about heroin. I'm like, what? And it was one of like, so this raises my hackles because I'm first like, anyone could handle this. Like, you did not need to get me. We're all part of this team. Someone should have been doing
Yeah.
something. So I run out and I just give him the light. I'm like, dude, just get off stage.
Right.
Get off stage. And the theory is we know that the crowd does not enjoy this topic.
Right.
We as comedians should then adjust
Right.
and be like, okay, this doesn't work. Let's see if anything else works. Because the goal of the comedian is to have a good show.
Right.
He went on stage and his goal was, I'm going to prove to her
Eh,
that it's okay for me to talk about this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not comedy. This is not what we're meant to do. So I was like, just get off stage. Just get off stage. Just get off stage. And I understand that, like, he has a very personal story that has to do with heroin, and he's open to talk about it. And that's great. But you're not going to reason with this woman.
Right.
So I
yeah.
was just like, get off the stage. And
At that point, you're burning the show down
Yeah.
because you want to fuck about.
gets off stage. I think Ramon is hosting and like makes a joke as she leaves. Like, and whether or not she heard it is debatable. But I know for a fact that I freaked out and I left and I walked around and I came in through the bar and I listened to her complain to the bar about us. And like we were not in a good place with the bar at that time. So
Right.
like I was on edge that
Yeah,
time.
this is the last thing you need right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I took my shirt off. And, yeah, that's probably the most angry that I've been at High Note. But like the things that really set me off are racism.
Sure.
Because like
You do know what podcast you're on, right? You
Yes.
came in here with Jesse Drim?
yeah.
It's not his fault. His dad told him this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like I have this is such a bad memory. My dad put a TV outside so he could watch the football game, and I was like, I'll hang out and watch some of the football
Oh.
game. So
That's
I'm sitting-
trashier than I thought he'd be.
I'm sitting with my dad. Oh, well, like he built a thing.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you just like,
It's not like we had a tube.
yeah, we got it from the house, baby.
Yeah. We're using the broken TV as a stand for
Right,
the good TV.
yeah,
No,
okay.
no, like we had like this little
That's
area.
cool.
It's just like,
Okay.
yeah, let's go outside. We put down like these shades so there's no glare. We're just enjoying it. And the Eagles lose. My dad goes up and does a thing. And I'm sitting next to my sister's now ex-boyfriend.
I
And
can see this
something
coming.
happens.
Yeah.
And someone's on screen and he just points and yells the N-word.
Mm.
And I went, what?
Right.
And I looked at Laura and I was like, let's get out of here. And I just like got up and I went downstairs into my basement because I was still living there at the
Right.
time. And I was just like, oh, that was terrible. Like a half hour goes by and my mom comes down and like, hey, can I talk to you about what happened with Sean's boyfriend? I was like, yeah, we can go ahead and talk. He's a terrible racist. It's like, yeah, you can't overreact like that because then he gets upset, and then Sean gets upset, and then Sean complains to me, and I'm like,
Do you have any idea how uncomfortable you made him?
yeah,
Noah.
that is what I got. And I was like, he yelled the N-word in my home.
Right. You'd be
Fuck it.
I can be as
did
upset
you
as I want.
Fuck it.
Did you
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
him how he felt about it?
Right. That's
So-
basically yeah.
I believe it was the same day we got the UFC fight, and I'm just kind of like trying to enjoy. And he invites all his friends to my house
So you're getting a chorus in
to
there.
watch, and like they're saying some stuff I really don't give a shit about.
Right.
And I just want to see Anderson Silva because I like Anderson Silva, and he breaks his fucking leg in this.
Oh, it was that.
it was
fight.
that fight.
Ugh.
And I was just like, I'm really just like upset, and they're being like super racist. I remember just going up into my room and I ripped my shirt off, and I was just like, oh, I fucking hate this. Oh, god damn it. And then like after a little bit of time, like I come down and I come back downstairs, and everyone's in a panic because two of his friends got into a fist fight in front of our house. I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy. I'm
Yeah.
fucking done. So
Right.
that's one of
See,
my
that's the
anger
moment,
stories.
and not to use like a stereotype, but that's the moment when you bring over friends of different races. Like you bring them over.
yeah,
No,
test
you
them.
guys keep telling what you're telling me. Just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Mark's gonna love it. Yeah, what were you saying about it?
What are you saying?
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
saying?
Yeah. By the way,
Oh.
that's Mark. That's Mark with a C. That is a Marcus. Okay. Let's see. Let's see you pull that off.
Thanks, Jesse, for clarifying.
He's a
But-
cop now.
yeah, of course.
Oh well, I'm sure he's gotten over those.
Oh,
old
dude,
days.
I was just in Staten Island, and
Thing.
holy shit! I mean, I'm not somebody. I just it's just the point of like it seems it's so on purpose, and it's when young kids do it that it really gets under my skin because there's this air about this whole like we're Italian and you know what I mean that way you can't say anything anymore. I'm like, you're 23. You don't need
Yeah.
to be this
This
person.
This
Yeah.
is the only time you've known, for fuck's sake.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's in fun. We're just kidding. You know, we're messing around. You know, I use queer. Who cares? You know, I'm like, this is only acceptable because you live in 5 blocks of this place. It
In
doesn't
the
make any
bubble.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to New York and then just say it like you want to say it. And then, no, it's because it's just that weird. I didn't like correct anybody because it's like, you get white knighting and all this kind of shit. But like, I just went like, I was like, all right. So it's true. You guys just think you're, okay.
Yeah.
Just kind of want to go, you could be better. You could like be
Yeah.
better than your dad. You know what I mean? That whole attack. That's fucking okay. That could infuriate. Yeah, I get you. That's fucking upsetting.
Well, let's bring this in for a landing.
Yeah.
Our
We might
final
cut this into
topic.
2. We might cut this into 2. Like
You know
little
what?
Parts.
That actually really might be. You know what? Let's do.
Don't talk
that.
about it now. Don't worry about it. But let's
Yeah,
go to death.
gotcha.
Let's
Let's,
go.
let's
To,
cut into 3 and keep going.
yeah, there
Yeah,
you go. I like
okay.
it.
Yeah. But yeah, so death. What's your first big death you
Well, I
dealt
think
with, if you've had one?
You talked about it with your grandma, right?
No.
Oh.
It was grandfather. I'm glad
Grandfather.
I'm glad you listened to
Sorry,
my story.
sorry. I did listen. I just grandma, grandpa.
The first big death that was my uncle, and he was the guy that got me into wrestling.
Gotcha.
And he was living with my grandmother at the time.
Grandfather.
And like,
Got it. Sorry, dude.
it was one of those things that like he died, and it was in my opinion very sudden. And like I just remember sitting in my grandmother's house waiting for the different people to show up because I have a huge family.
Yeah.
And every time it was, what happened? They're like, well, Noah, go outside. And I would go outside and like not hear what happened.
Oh, they were protecting you.
Yeah. but
How old are you?
I was in 6th grade, 7th
Okay.
grade maybe.
Old enough to hear about death, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was more to just like shelter my sister.
Right.
Like you and your sister go outside.
Okay.
So I'm still to this day not positive of what
Right.
happened. But what I understand is my uncle had a bit of brain damage because he lived in Camden and was assaulted with a golf club. And because of that, he shouldn't drink. And then on this day, he was drinking and just
Something happened.
something happened and they found him on the floor. Like, as the winner of the religion award,
Right.
or soon to be winner of the religion
Sure.
award, like I was immediately like, well, God, what's up with this?
Yeah, yeah.
What was this supposed to like? Why did this happen? And then the wind would blow, and I'd be like, oh, the wind blew.
This can't be a coincidence.
I was like, I don't know what that means though. So
Right.
I actually went to a priest and was like, listen,
The wind's trying to tell me something.
my uncle died, and whenever I ask God about it, the wind blows. What's he telling me? And he was like,
What's he telling me?
I
Father, you check any of the books or anything like that? Wind blowing, does that come up at all?
Yeah.
Anything like that? Specifically my uncle. Specifically to do with my uncle.
going on in there. And he was like, it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh God, that's right. Like, yeah, the wind blows sometimes. I gotta go.
Yeah. Listen, sixth grader, it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
I know they're not going to tell you what death is, but you'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
It's a coincidence. The wind blows sometimes. Your uncle got hit in the head. By the way, there's no God. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, yeah, we do. We do such a disservice to children. The fact that we try to shield them from this. I do. My family 100% does it all the time. Like, it's just when we think that kids can't handle it, it's like, no, they're gonna have a bunch of questions. I do also think adults really, they're just like, I just don't want questions. I just don't want questions. And
This
that's
is an
the fail.
inconvenience for me.
It's the failure upon parents. Because they really, I think it's that awkward moment when they go like, they're like, oh, it'll be so much less awkward. Underneath, they're going like, it'll be so much less awkward if we just lie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything, right? It should be so less awkward unless we lie. Like, just lie. It's fine. We're protecting them. We're protecting them. You're not really protecting them. I remember sitting up at night with anxiety, like, trying to make myself cry because I'm like, God, please just like take away my acne. Like, I'm praying for like, I just don't want to be fat and like all that kind of stuff. And the whole time I was like, just wondering why. It's because no one fucking talked to me and be like, dude, we gotta get you outside. Like, give me some practical applications. Instead, I'm like deeply at night, like praying to God, who's just me talking to myself.
Yeah. Do you want to hear something real psycho?
Of course.
When I was praying, I remember actually praying once. I was like, God, I'm so happy. Like I'm living a really good life. If you want to make my life worse,
Jesus Christ.
to help someone else out.
You teachers fucking pet
I
you.
know. Isn't that like a fucking
Jesus
psychopath
Christ.
type
Yeah.
thought? Like, I was just like, my happiness is probably causing someone else's pain.
Right.
Let me take their pain so they can have some happiness, because I'm clearly too happy and other people are suffering, and that's probably my fault for having joy.
Oh yeah. And if you listen to, like, when I go to do my laundry, they have evangelical priests up, and the kind of I've never went to those kind of masses, but when the super church, like,
Right, mega church.
yeah, mega church and stuff, where it's like, there's music and there's everything, and then they do various, well, I've never been here, like that kind of shit. And I'm just going like, I'm like, this is insane to me. Like, this is crazy. This is clearly you, and that comes up as a thought, because they will say that. They'll be like, yeah, I mean, even if you can unburden yourself and take on more burden, like this whole guilt bullshit with Catholicism is just
we all have
fucking,
a cross to bear.
yeah. And it's like, oh, you think you got it bad? They've got it much worse. You should have it bad. You should have it much worse than you do. And that's actually the goodness in God and shit. I go like, no, it's not. Like, stop it. And I would that's why I was very angry at Catholic school. I became the kid. I don't know. Did you never, no, because you held that into theism until like you're into college.
I mean, like, the way it was impressed on me was like, this is correct. Some people haven't figured it out yet. And it's like, oh, that's a shame for them.
Parents
That's a
really
fucking
religious
shame.
too? Or were they surprised that you wanted to be a priest?
Like, my mom was like, kind of.
Yeah.
And like, my dad went to Catholic school but didn't want me to go to Catholic school.
Oh.
And like, they were at least smart, because I was like, I want to be an altar server. And they're like, nope.
Oh.
Not happening.
It's already, but okay, because that's interesting, because they're just like, this is going to be a priest. But for some families, like my aunt's a nun, they're like, woohoo, they're just like, hey.
I mean, priest never surpassed comedian
Right.
in my dreams. So
Either or, tomato,
you know,
tomato.
You know how sad it would be Noah being the funny priest at like a school or something? Like, ugh. That'd be a bummer. It'd be super funny, but it'd be fucking the worst.
Yeah.
Everyone now, fold your hands. Each punchline. I had priests that would try to do funny. That's the joke that I try to talk about. I hate it when they go just like, and now we'll pray. It's like, yeah, because you weren't funny, and then you had nothing else. And then you went, like, yeah, good cover. Good cover, dude.
You don't laugh because we're praying. We're praying.
Yeah, we're
That's
praying.
why you're not laughing.
But where do you think? You think as your now current state, do you think we go anywhere when we die? Do you think there's anything after this at all, or something you'd hope there to be after this?
See, there's part of me that like I really like endings. So like the idea of dying and then like there being more shit. It's kind of like it's like when they make a sequel to a movie that doesn't need one.
Yeah.
And it's just like, nah, I did a whole thing. What the?
Now you see me too.
But what about reincarnation, where it's like it's a reboot, a reimagining?
I
if you
thought
will.
I invented reincarnation because I remember like when I was very young, coming up to my mom being like, "What if when you die, you come back as something else.
Yeah, you thought your uncle was wind. You came back as shitty wind, dude.
Windy Willie Houlihan.
Yeah, I just
Blowing
got
this way
my
and
5
that.
minutes together, so I'm excited about it. But dude, it's like, okay, yeah, that's good. That is beautiful. I get the idea of that. So, and you did Buddhism, which I think,
Yeah.
right? Or is it
But
Hinduism that has the reincarnation?
Buddhism has it that the idea is if you're depending on how good you are, depends on what you get reincarnated as. Like, you fucked up. You're a dung beetle. It's like, I don't know if dung beetles have a bad life. But whatever.
Dung beetles they like shit quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in the fucking name.
Yeah, they're happy. But like, you're trying to work your way up the chain, and then you eventually reach nirvana, where you basically escape the chain,
Right.
and you're not reincarnated because you've reached nirvana.
Right.
And I kind of like the idea of like the whole plan is to get the fuck
Out of here. Exactly.
Like, you're going to be in the system for
Yeah.
a while. You fuck up. You're going to be a blade of grass for a bit. You'll work yourself back up to pig, then cow, then eagle, then human, and then
What? Oh, sorry.
And then-
Jesse's not laughing because I just love the idea structurally in your thought just now. You're just like, eagle obviously is right before
Yeah,
human.
he's climbing.
It's
He's
clearly,
climbing.
that's such an American ideal.
He's climbing.
Whereas Ben Franklin's like, fucking turkey,
Yeah.
dude. Turkeys should be the better one. Like,
You're climbing the corporal ladder.
yeah, the cosmology, like,
Yeah.
and then you're like, and then if you did, you're like, you fucking did it. You're out. Boom. You're done.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah, yeah.
all right, cool.
I always seen that I never understood because I always thought it's like, well, you become human again, but then if you fuck up, do you got to go back to like? Is this like a daisy chain? You're like,
Yeah.
is that how it works, or do you
Yeah.
just be?
It's like the game Trouble.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, like
Candyland.
You got landed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You're a shitty person.
Yeah.
Back to Clumpy.
Yeah.
Okay, so but
Hitler has been a veal calf a few times in a row now.
Yeah.
right. Okay, so you come back as a human, and then I guess, but. So is that what the Dalai Lama technically, like they clearly
That's-
have come back?
I don't know a lot about the Dalai.
I
I
gotcha.
haven't
Okay.
done Hindu, but
Yeah, college education.
yeah,
stupid.
the Buddha, and
The Buddha.
like
Oh, the Buddha.
yeah, and the thing is like, I remember I wrote this whole sketch about this. There was a guy who was a teacher because a teacher reaches Sunni Nirvana, which is basically you teach people. You've reached Nirvana, but instead of reaching Nirvana, you stay and teach. Because
Oh.
the ideals of Buddhism is desire leads to suffering.
Right.
So if you desire
Heard that
things,
before. Yeah.
like you're only going to be like you're just going to set yourself up to be
Yes.
sad. So that's why like for quite a few years in my career, instead of pursuing things, I'm like, nah, it's all good.
Yeah, I've done that.
And I was just like, Buddha, like I'm being a good Buddhist. I'm not going to do anything or try
Right. Dude.
Buddha.
Don't want
But I remember being told this story where this Sunni Nirvana Buddhist teacher was accepting all questions about like Nirvana and
Oh.
from the students. The students were asking all these questions, and he just kept going like this. I'm holding up one finger. For
Yes,
people
yeah,
not
I
looking.
got you.
So he was like, yeah, well, but can we do this and still reach Nirvana? Holds up one finger, and he just kept doing that. And then this one student of his lifted a finger at him. So the teacher grabbed his hand and cut his finger off. And as he's bleeding and screaming and leaving, the teacher tells him to wait and goes like this. And the student was instantly enlightened and reached Nirvana. And everyone was like, oh, fascinating. And
Why?
what I took that as is like, what if when you reached Nirvana, your head exploded? So I had this whole sketch where it's just like, oh, I think I get it. Whoa!
Right.
Did he do it? Did he reach Nirvana? I don't get it. He just went like this. Boom! Oh, God! Nobody think.
Yeah.
Boom! Oh, God!
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't have any thoughts. No thoughts. Don't have any thoughts.
I love the idea of enlightenment as like a pandemic contagion
Yeah.
that just like ripples through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit, he's enlightened!
Oh, God.
Don't look at what he was looking at.
Yeah. Well, I love that. As the
Yeah.
ending. Everyone, no thoughts.
Yeah.
Have no thoughts.
No thoughts.
Yeah, if you're taking anything away from it, take that. No, could you hit us a little bit while the camera's on you with a little bit of your plugs? Some
I
places
sure
for them
can.
to check out.
If you want to check me out, I'm at TV's Noah on Twitter. If you want to check out my comedy group, we are Plus Two Comedy. You can check us out at Plus Two Comedy. Also, Plus Two Comedy on Instagram and Facebook. I stream 4 days a week, roughly, on Twitch. So that's twitch.com/Plus Two Comedy, where I solve the internet's hardest riddle and play some motherfucking video games. And also, you can check out the Stay Doomed show, where me and my wife watch shows that lasted one season or less and decide if the show should be Stay Tuned and we should kept it going and watch it, or if it should just stay doomed and be forgotten. You can check that out on Plus Two Comedy's YouTube, also on Plus Two Comedy on Podbean, and we're also on iTunes and Stitcher and all that good shit. Also check out Cosplay Pro Wrestling, which is my wrestling company, where I wrestle as the very devious Giovanni of Team Rocket. You can check us out on YouTube and on Facebook. I think that's all. Oh, High Note Humor. Check out High Note Humor at the Tap Room Bar and Grill down in Haddonfield, New Jersey. We're there every Wednesday. We're also holding our Iron Comic competition, so be sure to come check that out whenever that is happening.
Former Iron Comic.
Yeah, you should probably be in line for #1 contendership.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, good job.
So we need to have a #1 contendership match soon. So maybe we'll push you to the
Okay.
front of the line.
Fuck yeah, I'll do that.
work, dude.
Never defeated.
Yeah, you were never defeated.
That was right before the format change.
Yeah,
so.
because we changed the format. Now we have a belt and a title
Right,
and all that
right,
good
right.
stuff. So, yeah, I think you're definitely owed something, and I believe so's Alejandro. And
Ooh.
who else? Someone else beat us. Connor. What's his name?
Well, no, Rusty.
Oh, Brooke?
Rusty. Rusty did
Yeah,
win.
Rusty, because
won.
Rusty was my Sue, and then he won after
Yeah,
that.
Rusty did win, so Rusty's owed one. And what's his name? O'Connor. What's his
Oh,
first name?
Chris O'Connor?
Chris O'Connor. Chris
Yeah.
O'Connor beat me and deserves.
Nice.
I don't think I can drag him.
They're
out to
all
the
really
top
good
rope, but,
comics,
yeah,
local
they're all-
comics for anybody listening. Yeah, all goodies. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Brian.
speaking personally, this has been my favorite episode.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed this a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming.
Thanks for letting me be negative for a bit. 'Cause
I
it's
know.
not something I
Definitely,
do.
Now we got to
And
go back out and
and
Noah's
like-
gonna be all.
even I didn't really get that negative.
Yeah, I know. Really
I still
neither.
had a really good time.
Nice.
I didn't cry like a punk like Shaner. I love Ryan Shaner.
I know, of course. You have to. All right, Jesse. What do you got, buddy?
Black Cat Happy Hour Hump Day Ha-Has every first and third Wednesday at 6:45. That's at 12th in Oregon. Follow me at Jesse Dram, at Magic Misery Tour. I think that's it.
You're there.
I don't know. I think that's it for me. You're not reading my lips. You heard me. Come on.
It was it perfectly covered his face. I can't. You're not honestly. You block his face. It says help, and then it just cuts down. When you guys watch this, he cuts down, and he's just like, like that. Perfect. Honestly, perfect. We're gonna pull it as a clip. Guys, I am Neil Wood. .com for all my dates and details. We got shows coming up at Chalfont at the Pop-In, which I tried to book Noah on. Tried to have him on for that.
Still hasn't booked me. I've booked him on every show I've ever done.
Yeah,
on
you know,
radio.
it's fine. You just do less. And of course, you can check that out. That will be September 19th and then September 7th over at the laboratory in Hatboro. But you can get all the details, tickets, and all the other stuff at IamNeilWood.com and nerdswithwordspodcast.com. Love you guys very much. Happy Saturday to you guys. I hope you enjoy.
This has been a Drop Tent Media Production.